And and then obviously we're getting ready for winter, for summer here. And I have a house, and we have snow blowers and tractors and all kinds of stuff that um, we have to get in line now for the summer. And so take care. I'm all, yeah. Okay, fine. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. You get into the kitchen there and get your food. Okay. Okay. Okay, what we do, my wife and I, we have a small part-time business that she enjoys. Let me get my sound up here for everyone. One second when I do that. Patient. Here we go. Yeah, and one thing I do since I retired, my wife and I, she's had a business probably for 15 years, and for me, spending time with her, no matter if it's working or being at home or whatever, we've got so many things we enjoy, and I like the exercise in working with her. And it's a small cleaning job in our beautiful town of Port Washington. And if you would experience that, it's a village here that was uh, was originally supposed to be the main Milwaukee. And what happened is finally they drained the swamp out in Milwaukee, and all the Indians down there moved out, and they made that the main city. But Port Washington um, is considered one of the beautiful visiting spots in the United States for fishing or for hunting. And now, what's coming up in the very near future, we are going to have the largest, or let me just see if I can get a newspaper article on that. I'll tell you what's happening now. Everybody's into this high speed going online here. So I'm trying to find something right now. Um, we're putting in our town. It's going to be one of the largest. Uh, what would you call it? Computer center in the United States. Oh, can't hear you, Mark. Let's see if I can get that going. I've lost your signal. There's no sound. We are not operating today here. And Mark, it's not working, no sound. Okay, we can do that.
Just leave it on speaker.
Yeah, I can do that.
And I don't know why it does that, but let's try to have a workaround.
Okay.
And then we'll find out when we publish the video whether it worked well or worked badly or what.
Yeah, as long as we don't get an echo in it.
Well, either that or as long as I don't get an echo.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up something here real quick, Mark.
Are you showing me a historical newspaper or something, or what are you showing me there?
No, what we're trying to do here in our town, I'm grappling to find it right now. But these informational centers where the high-speed computers are,
Yeah.
they're trying to build one here in our area, and they're taking up I think, what is it, 20,000 acres?
What?
Yeah. They've eaten up
What? Slow
all,
down the truck. Slow down the truck.
yeah.
20,000 acres to make an informational what center? Computer center?
Yeah, it's a
or
computer
print
center.
Or
It's a, what do they do? It's, in other words, it's where all the brains go, all the computer.
all the brains.
Yeah,
Well, that wouldn't include me, I'm sure.
it's all AI.
AI brains, like the AI computer servers or
Yeah,
something.
it's a big server. It's one of the largest servers.
God.
It's one of the largest servers in the United States when they're done with
Do
it.
you know which company is building it?
Comes out of California. And
But not somebody you recognize like Amazon or Facebook or.
no, it's let's see, what do they call it? Let's see, let's see if I can find it. It's called Cloverleaf. That's the name of the company. Okay, what they're doing here, it says the complex plan, I was off my numbers here. For the data center complex is 11 data center buildings, 5 substations, 3 office buildings, and 1,600 acres, though.
Good God.
Yeah, I know it.
1,600 acres. That is a lot of land.
Yeah, and the plan calls for a utility plant and areas for future development. New roads and everything here. This data center is identified. It's probably one of the largest in the United States when they're done with it. And the reason they like it here is because this we're right next to Lake Michigan, so they can get all the water they need. It takes millions and millions of gallons every day to run this thing, to cool it down.
Okay.
So
remind me and the audience, you're in which state and what part of the state?
Okay, we are, just so people give a rough idea of where it is. If you are familiar with Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which is
yeah, I mean, I couldn't find it on a map, but I've heard it's not in New Jersey.
okay, it's 90 miles north of Milwaukee.
Where you are, or where
I mean, 90. I'm sorry, 90 miles north of Chicago, downtown Chicago.
Okay.
Now, if you take downtown Chicago 90 miles north on the lake, that's Milwaukee. Now you take another 40 miles north of that, and you're in Port Washington. And they are considering and pretty much pushed the whole thing through as far as this new data center.
So the little town of Port Washington is where they're building it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of opposition.
Okay.
Because it's taking up a lot of valuable farmland. And that's the problem we have around here, is because we've been trying to save our farmland, because it's just disappearing with, as we know, subdivisions.
Well, and there's, Bill Gates is buying up a bunch of farmland. China's buying up farmland. But somebody sold them the land, right? Has the land deal gone through or not?
I believe it has, yeah. And the farmers are getting paid a very pretty penny for their land. But what it does, and I was reading the article the other day, and I knew you'd never think about this, but the waste from farmers, they have to spread their manure out in the fields. But now there is no fields to spread the manure. And you've got all this waste, and it's got to go, and that's pushing the farmers further
Now
north
they
or south.
spread it out in order to dry it out, right?
And then what, they dry it out and then they plow it under.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't they put it? I mean, somebody must have thought of another way to dry it out. You could
They
put
don't,
it in a heavily vented silo or something, or not?
no, they don't even have to dry it out. It comes out like silage. It comes out as almost like a fluid. And
Okay,
then,
but you're saying they have to do it that way with the field. They cannot do it another way.
no, it's got to get, that's the only way they can get rid of it. And,
Huh.
and sometimes, the, the smell, obviously you have to deal with that. Where we live out here at our home, we can look out out our window here and I can see 1 mile of straight farmland.
Huh.
And that's a
Corn,
lot.
or what do they usually do? Rotate, or what do they do?
So what's happening is this, the farmers come out here and, some of the silage is a liquid. And then they pump it into the fields. And another way is a solid. And then,
Okay.
and they spread that with trucks with a slide loader.
Okay.
I'm so familiar with it because I'm out there with my television camera and doing a
Right.
lot of this video. And that it's kind of ironic how this all came about with my story. Because all this B-roll footage that I have is going to be used in the movie.
Okay.
So we are, it's this whole area is further east of us. We're further west of Port Washington and in the rurals. We got lakes all around our house. And when I wake up in the morning, I can probably see 2 or 3 deer looking in the window. It's kind of fun to see.
Yeah, sounds fun.
Yeah, and so it's going to be, and people are upset too about the sound because these big units, they make a lot of humming noises. And then they're going to build their own electrical power plant.
Right.
And near us, we have a steel plant. That's about, and the steel plant makes almost a lot of the steel for Detroit.
Mm.
And so you can imagine now with this, with the tariff that's going on, we're going to be making a lot more steel.
Yeah, because it'll be, well. So Richard, do you feel like the area is really going to substantially change, or what?
Well, you see, I don't, well, we're in a small village, okay?
So you guys have what, 10 acres or 100 acres, or?
Where we live? We only have several acres, but around us, but to the west of us is 35 or 40 acres, and north of us, we have a lake. And
well,
so
the other people own all that stuff. So you just own a few acres, 2 or 3 or 4.
That's all you need out here.
Okay.
And because if you're surrounded by woods and by trees and by lakes, and let everybody else pay the taxes on it, it's just, we just happen to find it by mistake. And but what I can say though is the small township that we're in, we are trying to preserve the rural aesthetics, and the town is on board for that. So we have several lakes now that they're trying to, and we have gravel pits here. I don't know, in Wisconsin, we have a beautiful shale. We have gravel here that's shipped all over the place, made for roads and everything. And because of the glaciers that came through here, and we're in a great, everywhere you look, we got hills here. And then as you level off towards Milwaukee, it goes flat. But we have gravel. And so there's a big need for that. And then when they're done with the gravel pit, it fills up with water, and then and now they want to turn these pits into into parkland. And so we're trying, and that's all we're trying to do right now is turn all these lakes, these small gravel pits that filled up into parkland for people. And some of them are like 50, 100 acres. And
Are you saying the word farmland or parkland?
park, P-A-R-K, like a park.
Okay, okay.
And so, and then on the both sides of our home, about a mile or two away, are gun ranges. And and they're, oh yeah, you wouldn't believe that. I mean, they're firing the most high-powered rifles you can imagine.
So now I know where the American Nazi Party practices, right?
Well, this is not the this is not the you know. No, these are police. The police come in once a week, and you can hear them shooting their firearms, their pistols. And very rarely will you hear a machine gun.
But I mean, is it police probably from all over the United States or
No,
what?
just local.
Just local. Okay.
Yeah, they're mandatory, I think, to come in and shoot. Part of their curriculum is they probably have to get out and shoot.
Yeah.
Plus, we have a clay shooting here.
Okay.
And I mean, it's a real big sport in our area. Is clay
I'll be
shooting.
darned.
Oh, it's huge. I mean, it goes on from let's say in an afternoon until 10 o'clock at night, and they have lights out there.
What's the heritage of the areas, like Germany or?
In our area, it's let's see, it's German, obviously. German, Lutheran, Catholic, and also Irish. Where we live, it's an Irish community. So they settled here during the potato famine in the 1860s, I believe. So,
this clay shooting thing, I thought that was an English thing, but it's really an Irish thing, or what?
No, it's an American hobby. I mean, it is it's absolutely huge. Skeet shooting or clay shooting. It goes on. I would say they're probably at one time out there, maybe 60 shooters at a time.
What?
Oh yeah. Yeah, and then that's on one side of our house, and then the other side is another 60 shooters at a time. And my wife says, "Oh no, not again." But I don't mind it. You don't hear it after a while.
How many times a week do they do this?
A couple nights a week. And I mean, yeah, you can hear that shooting, and then sometimes then they have a deer rifle range, and these guys come in here with their 30-30s, 30-06s, 50 caliber rifles, elephant rifle. You hear it all, and it carries for miles, and we're a distance from it, but just the same. And I have no objection to that, because that's a wonderful hobby.
Yeah. Do you have any B-roll of that, any of that, or not?
I haven't gone over there and done that. There is really no need to do it, but it's just that I've gone over there and watched them shoot it. I mean, it's amazing how good they are at shooting that piece of clay out of the sky.
Yeah. You said you went and did some shooting yourself?
Oh yeah, I was a deer hunter for a while, and I got lost in the woods.
I saw your movie, The Deer Hunter. Yeah.
Yeah, right on. I don't think so. But
you've seen that movie, so yeah.
There's, I could tell you a story. One time I got lost in the woods. My buddy up near Michigan. There are a lot of up north of here. There are a lot of forests, and I mean, these forests have just lanes. You know, where the forest.
Is Upper Michigan above you?
It's yeah. It's yeah. So Iron Mountain is north of us. Iron Mountain, Michigan, and then there's Amberg, Wisconsin, where they have a lot of these forest trails. And that's where I went in. My buddy went in there one time. And here's a story I never told you. I went in, and you go in a week ahead of time when you're hunting, and you prospect your area. And I mean, the trees are generally maybe only a couple of feet apart. So you're just pushing trees and branches and everything to get to your spot. And my spot was off of a logging trail about, and the ruts in the road from the rain and from, everything.
So it's kind of like when you're bird watching, you make a blind, right?
Yeah, you do make a blind. Yes. Mine was a hole in it.
The deer hunting thing is something like that.
Yeah, we have blinds all over the place here. A lot of people
Do they call them blinds when it's involved with deer hunting?
Yeah, they call them blinds. A lot of them will put, they'll climb up a tree, and then they'll put they'll sit in a chair up there.
Right.
And around here, when you're driving up north, or even in our area, you see like it looks like a small house up on they build on a tripod, or four legs or whatever, and then they sit in there, all day, and they're down at night, up the next day, all blaze orange. And what happened is, we went down this logging trail, and he had a Jeep, and like a big Wagonaire type thing with a steel bottom on it, because you have to have them when you're going through this brush. And it was hitting the bottom, the wheels, and it was big wheels. And so we get in there, and he said, "This is your spot." So he gives me these little round tags. They're about this big around, and then you put them on a tree, and then you go a mile in.
Okay.
And so then you have, so when he drops me off a week later at night, because you got to wander in there before the deer start moving, and you follow with a flashlight your little white markers on the trees.
Oh, okay.
Which is very normal around here. I'm telling you, this is Wisconsin stuff. So he dropped me off, and he's going to see me in about 8 hours. He's another mile or two down in a big valley.
Right.
I mean, there's huge valleys there, big rocks. So I'm there, and so I'm walking into the woods, and somebody had somehow found the trail and actually took off my little white tags off all the trees. So I don't know where to go. It's blackout.
Human beings.
And I have a flashlight. So all I can do is think of going west. So I go way out, it had to be a mile or better. And then
I'll pick you, but you don't have like the moss on the trees to follow, or what? How do you know where west is?
Well, you just know, because when we went in, I knew where north and south and east and west was. And I have kind of like a built-in compass in my head. So I
believe that. Yeah.
So you gotta
That's where that bump is on the
And I did not have a compass along, because I didn't figure, so I go in, and somehow I found this hole in the ground where I was supposed to be. The only thing is, the guy had taken my little heater that I was supposed to have, and the only thing he left me was a bucket and a bag. And the bag I will explain later to you.
Yeah.
The plastic bag. So
kind of figure that one out. So are you actually deer hunting at night then? You get them, you can also hunt at night or not?
No, you can't hunt at night. They give you a time in the morning, and that's, like 6:30 or 6 something. And then the shooting starts. So you're not allowed to
in there at night for some reason, right? You go in at night and stay in the night?
Yeah, you gotta go in at night, and then you find your spot. And then you sit there and you wait till morning.
Why?
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 Well, I mean, the idea is that otherwise, if you go in there during the day, you're disturbing the deer.
So in other words, it's going to put you in place surreptitiously, so that by the time you sit there all that time, the deer doesn't know you're there.
Exactly. And they bed down.
And you're sitting there like 8 hours?
Yeah, 3-4 hours. Anyway, 5 hours, you're in your hole. You wait. You don't know what it.
Jesus, thank you for letting me live in California, God.
I hear you.
You don't call a Lyft driver, apparently. Gee whiz.
Oh, you're talking about dedicated. We're like Green Bay Packers. We're dedicated.
Oh, he said, yeah, I believe it.
So anyway, I go in, and I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, on the hill where the thing was dug out, and I'm sitting on the hill, and all of a sudden a deer shows up. A little, smaller one. I'm thinking, oh man, I came here, I'm a videographer. I came here to take pictures and have my thing and, just enjoy. Because Jim and I get along very well. He has he's a very unusual person. He's a runner, okay?
Mm.
And he what they call a marathon runner. I don't know if you've ever heard of them out there in
Oh
California.
yeah, yeah, I've heard of it.
Well, my buddy Jim, he runs 100 miles straight.
I
And
walked from the living room to the kitchen once. I didn't care for it.
so I'm telling you, the only time and he stops, his wife gives him water or whatever he needs, and they keep on going. And he runs against military people and everything else. And he's very good at what he does. He enjoys it. So, and that's so anyway, I go in there and the deer is sitting there, and I'm thinking, oh, do I really want to shoot this thing? So
Yeah.
I let him go. I just wanted to enjoy
You said it was a small deer anyway.
It wasn't huge. No, it wasn't a buck or anything like that. And I have what they call a SKS. It's a Chinese rifle and automatic.
You're only hunting for male deer or not?
You can get either buck or doe.
You run, okay, and then when you're done, you take them home and eat them, or what?
Yeah, you take them home. You tag them and then you register
You
them.
dress them yourself, or do you take them to a butcher shop, or?
Here's the bad part.
I'm just asking. I don't know. You could tell me that you take them to the dark side of the moon and sell life insurance, and I wouldn't know the difference.
I don't even know how to skin a deer or even know how to open it up. I don't know anything.
Me or you?
Nothing.
I wouldn't know a deer from a zebra. I wouldn't know a deer from a can of tuna. Come on.
Well, at any rate, they're fast. So anyway, they come back again. I'm sitting there on top of that hill.
Same deer?
Same deer came back again. And so finally, I thought, all right, I'll shoot it. But I don't know anything about, you got to gut the deer. You got to take the insides out, Don't know a thing.
Well, after you shoot it.
Yeah, you take the insides out and
you have some friend come over and learn you how to do that.
Well, I didn't think I was going to shoot anything, And so anyway, now it's getting dark. I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I got to get out of here, and I don't know how to get out. So I'm lost in the woods.
Yeah.
All I got is a sandwich.
He stole your
so
signals.
Yeah. And you got to go, but when you're sitting there, you got to go potty, all that time.
Yeah, well, that's what the bag is for.
And the bucket.
No.
So you put the bag in the bucket and you sit on the bucket and you put it, and then you bury the bag because the animals will scent that if you put your waist above ground, they won't come near you.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting on this bucket going, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened, but I heard something and I fell over.
Oh my God.
And I'm trying to get the bucket off of my rear end. And it wouldn't come off.
Yeah.
And I was this was bad. I rolled around and I couldn't, and my rifle was up against a tree over there and I couldn't get at it. I'm fighting, I get my rear end out of this bucket and it wouldn't come. I mean, I wrestled on that thing for probably maybe an hour trying to get that thing off. And then finally I got the thing off, and then the deer shows up. I shoot the deer and now it's late and it's getting dark and I got to get out of here. I don't know where I'm at. So I thought, well, what do I have left is a roll of toilet paper and no compass. So I take the paper. I'm thinking, what can I do here? So I take the paper and I roll it in a little piece, and I take it and put it on the trees. So I'm doing.
Oh, okay.
So I would put
know where you've been at least.
Yeah. So I went out west. That didn't work. I went out south and then following the toilet paper back, and went about a mile that way and north. So finally, one last try. It was really getting dark out, and then I went east, and I was out of toilet paper, and I just got to that old logging road, and Jim comes pulling up. He says, I said, I shot a deer. I said, I got good news and bad news. I said, I said I shot a deer, but I'm not happy, you know, I didn't want to do that. And so at any rate, he said, what do I do with it? I leave it back there. He says, no, I'll get it for you. So we go all the way back into the woods. And I think, how am I going to get this thing out of there? I can't lift it. So he says, I'm going to gut your deer once. You will learn how to do it the next time. I said, there ain't going to be a next time around here. I'd tell you right now. So he grabbed that deer backwards by the back legs. And he walked that deer a mile. Just dragging it because he's got all this leg strength, you know, for running.
Right.
And then
Not normally how they get deer out of the woods. I mean,
yeah, and then he threw it up on the top of the van, his truck. He had one up there already, and went home. But he you know, he's just one of these people that's just very amazing. You ever hear Kohler water company? They make these beautiful dish. Let's see, how can I say this? When you wash your hands like a sink.
Oh, water.
Yes,
company.
yeah. Kohler water. They make.
Yeah, Kohler. Yeah, I've heard of them. Yeah, they advertise a lot out here.
Yeah, well, they're right next to they're only just a little bit north of here.
Okay.
So anyway, he is the guy that some of them have these beautiful birds and all these beautiful animals that are around the outside of these things.
Right.
He does it all by hand. He was the artist that did that.
Amazing.
Yeah. He just learned it.
Wow.
He's very articulate in his work. And I'll never forget this. He's one of these type of guys that he does everything on a dare. So he's got this, he bought this was earlier, and he bought one of these, a trailer, and it was owned by, you ever hear of the Posse Comitatus? It was a
I've
group.
heard it. I think it's an Italian pizza or
what they were.
It's a venereal disease in Luxembourg. I can't remember. Yeah.
What these guys were, they were kind of like revolutionary people, and was in the country, and you know, like revolting and all of that. So he's got this trailer and he's got bullet holes running through it because the federal people had a shootout with him.
Okay.
So at any rate, my wife and I were up there visiting him and his wife and his kids, and behind this trailer is this big steep hill, and they got the trailer sitting up there, and he looks down, and at the bottom of the hill is this little jump, and the kids would go down this hill with their little bicycles, you know, these little scooters, you know, and they hit the bottom and they hit this little thing about that big and fly up into the air and land.
Right.
So he said, I'm going to do that. I said, no, Jim, don't do that. I said, that's the last thing you got to do is go down this steep hill and try and make this jump. No problem at all. I can do anything, you know. So, you know, so Elaine and I both trying to jump. Don't do it. He does. He got to the top of the hill and he goes down the hill. And I mean,
you're
really,
going to say, let's see, the nearest hospital is 7 miles, and
nearest hospital was 15 miles away.
Iron
Mountain.
How many legs or arms did he break?
He got down to the bottom of the hill and he got on that jump, and all of a sudden I hear this crack. He gets up and he's going, good. Oh no, my hand. I says, you broke your hand. I says, you broke your hand. This is the hand you use to carve all these beautiful things. So I had to take him up to Iron Mountain. Then he reset his hand for him. He couldn't work. So he couldn't make all these beautiful, you know, dishware. You know. So then he's done with that. And then his son, a year or two later, I went out with him, and his son is with him. And I don't know if you ever heard this, but Indians years and years ago used to climb up a tree. And then when the tree got so high, it would bend, and, you know, and then the Indian would come down on the ground, you know.
Okay.
It was like an Indian thing. Who knows? But
I've never heard of it, but how old is Jim and how old is his son?
Jim is he's about 50, 59 or 60 now, and his son is about 20 years younger. And his son is a lecturer now and a carpenter. So anyway, he climbs up this tree. And I said, don't do that. Don't climb up this tree. It's too, it's too narrow. It's too narrow.
Learn from the broken hand, apparently.
No, worse than that. So he goes up this tree, and there's no branches on it. It's just up this narrow tree, and all of a sudden he's up there, and I think, oh no, and the tree breaks. Down he comes, and right next to him are, how beavers take a tree and then they kind of put it to a point. Because we're in that area where all the beavers are around, and it just missed his head and his back right next to the thing. And then he says, "Oh, my arm." I says, "Oh, come on." I said, I'll bet you broke your arm. So
was he joking or not?
No, I can see he broke his arm. I says, "Oh, give me your arm." So I take his arm and I give it a good
oh my God.
I give it a hard pull. Up to Iron Mountain again. I said we almost had a room up there. And so yeah, he broke his arm.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I mean, every time I go up there, it's always an event. And so I go up there the last time.
This is like the third time or what?
Yeah, this is the third time I'm up there. And he asked me to go along, and in Wisconsin, you can it's very hard to get a bear permit up there. And it takes almost 10 years.
They're in danger? The bears are endangered or what?
Oh no, they're just huge. I mean, they got a rear end on them like an ash can.
Black bears, brown bears, what?
I think it was a brown bear. I can't remember what it was.
Okay, they can be rather violent too. If I forget, you're supposed to stand still, or you're supposed to sing a song by the Beatles when you see them, or what?
Oh, these things are huge. So he went up there, and again, you got to go up and bait the bears, and you use all kinds of sweet stuff. I mean, you use molasses.
Why would you want to bait them?
You're allowed to bait the bears up there.
Why though? Why would you want to? You're not going to kill them, right? You said you can't kill them.
Oh yeah, you can kill bears if you get but you have to apply. I think there's something about a 10-year thing like this. You have to go into a lottery to get your bear license. They don't give them out to everybody once.
And then you get one every now and then. You're allowed to kill one or two bears within a year or something.
Every 10 years, you can get into the lottery. So he's got it. He won. He got the lottery, and he got his chance to go hunting. So just a second. So at any rate, he's going in there, and he's got a gun, a single shot rifle.
I would hope.
I mean,
single shot.
It's
single
shot rifle, but it's an elephant gun.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, Jesus.
Oh yeah, it's huge. The bore on this thing, it's bigger than your.
Better not miss. I'll tell you that.
45-70, or it's even bigger than that. It's a huge barrel on this thing.
I don't doubt it.
And so we go in there, and at night, the night before, and I had to go in with 2 pistols in either hand. And then he puts up these. You ever hear of a trail camera?
Well, yeah, of course.
He had trail cameras all over.
This bear. Have you guys got enough equipment to stop a bear? I hope to God.
Oh yeah, but
some of you got killed or what?
So I walk into the woods with him, and he says, "You got to sing." I said, "What are you talking about?" He says, "You sing song." Are you kidding me? He says, "No, sing a song." He says, "So the bears know that you are there and you are singing." I'm thinking, you got to be nuts.
Are you putting me on?
No, I'm not kidding you. So he says, "Sing a song." So I'm singing a song. And he was in there with a rifle, and I got 2 high-powered two guns in my hand.
Right. Pistols, right? High-powered pistols?
Yeah, it was a 357 and a 45. It was a 45 or something. And he said, if they attack you, that gun is not going to be of any value anyways.
Yeah.
They are ferocious up there. So
I believe it.
so he shows me when we put all this molasses and cookies and all this stuff under these logs. They're huge. And every time he would go back in there, he'd take these logs and throw them away. So I asked him, where are we going in? He says, the same place where you shot your deer. Because no, you kidding me? There was bear around there. You put me in there? Yeah. That's where they is. So we go into
not as much as your friend as you think he is.
I had no idea. So the next day is the day of the big hunt. And we go in there, and Jesse, his son, just by fortune came up, and he had a big cart with him. And so we're going over trees and everything else and into the woods a long way.
Right.
And so it's turning black out, and you cannot shoot after a certain minute. If it's 6:30, at 1 minute after that, you've broken the law.
Okay.
And there are wardens around that know if you've shot something. So right at that last minute, so he shows me a picture. So at any rate,
the bear probably has a watch on too.
Probably. Yeah, so at any rate, he shows me a picture of these bears on his camera that night. He says, look at this. The rear end is bigger than I can show you on my camera. You know, the camera. Oh, there were 4 of them.
Oh my God.
Yeah, 4 of them that came in. It must have been a family. So he was up in a tree, and all of a sudden there was just one. I'm looking at my watch, and I'm way far away, and all of a sudden I hear boom, and I hear a scream. I'm thinking, oh no, what did he shoot somebody? And all of a sudden, him and Jesse come walking out about an hour later carrying this huge bear. I mean, big. And one shot, that's all it took. And because he's a marksman. And dragged that thing out, put it in a van, took it home, and then I video recorded him skinning the deer. The bear, I mean. Yeah. And he told me never to show this to anybody because he was not.
But if a family came in and he shot the male deer,
the male bear.
male bear, the others ran away or tried to attack.
I don't think there were any. I think he came in on his own.
Okay, because I'm wondering.
Yeah, I don't.
But and you have video which you've never shown anybody of him skinning the bear.
Yeah, I mean he
bloody, huh?
Yeah, and then what he did.
Want to show everybody.
Yeah, he didn't feel right about that, and then he took that bear, and then he had a guy salt the hide. They salt it.
Right.
And then they cured it all, and then he had to put it on his floor in his living room.
Oh, what about meat? Do you try to eat the meat or not?
Yeah, he ate the meat. I didn't eat the meat. I don't care for bear meat.
Well, yeah, I've never quite heard. I don't believe I've ever heard of anybody who went bear hunting.
Yeah, and
that's not very common in Ohio. The deer hunting is common, but bear hunting, I don't think we have bears in Ohio.
And then we have we have venison here. They serve that in restaurants, and bear.
Yeah, okay.
And you can,
they don't do that in much of the country, but I've tasted it. I like venison.
And also we have elk. The restaurants, some of the restaurants around here sell all kinds of things, wild animals on their menu.
Is this the smaller town restaurants or
the bigger ones? The bigger ones. Yeah, the bigger ones.
I know Milwaukee's probably 130 miles away or something, or 40 miles away.
Yeah.
What other towns of considerable size are near you? Madison?
Madison is west of us, about 90 miles west.
Okay.
And that's a big college town there. Huge.
Yeah.
And I mean,
anything else?
As far as big towns, there's only 2 major towns. And then of course there's Rhinelander, there's and then we have what is it? I can't think of the name of it right now. The EAA, the Experimental Aircraft Association. Oshkosh. You ever heard of Oshkosh, Wisconsin?
I've heard of Oshkosh.
It's the number one during this one weekend. It's the busiest airport in the world.
Huh. I
And
had a friend, believe it or not, who passed away decades ago. We were friends for a long time. She was actually from Oshkosh.
oh, he had
Yeah,
stories to
it was
tell.
a type. What do you call that? A proof? Someone who proofs typing. Someone who looks at typing and makes sure it's correct.
Oh yeah, okay.
Typesetter, type proofer, proof
Oh
typer,
yeah, a proofwriter.
or something like that. Yeah, she did it for HP, Hewlett Packard, and she was really good. One time, she saved them like $130,000 because of a mistake on a poster that nobody else caught.
Oh wow.
Proofreader, that's what she was, and she charged real high prices, but HP was very happy to pay those prices. I'll tell you.
We so anyway, they have what's known as the Experimental Aircraft Association there. That's why. And so
Yeah, you're saying it's the one weekend a year. It's the busiest airport in the United States.
in the world. I mean,
So we're looking at some of these car airplanes and what else? What else would
military,
be?
a lot of
What else
military,
is common at an experimental airport event?
a lot of prototypes that people make themselves.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
mean,
okay.
and helicopters. They brought in that one plane now that is no longer available. That big one held hundreds of people in it. It was from London.
Oh, the Concorde.
Yeah, that landed there. And you
Okay,
could
so
buy.
it must be a pretty good sized airport then.
Oh, it's huge. And they also had airplanes in there. It was called a Ford Trimotor. It was built during
Oh,
the 1930s. My
okay.
wife and I flew on that. There's only two of them left.
Howard Hughes had a special plane built.
The
Is that
Goose.
still around?
I don't know where that is. I think they called it the Flying Goose or something like that.
Yeah.
They
Something like that.
that one never flew around there, but
Okay.
I saw one that came in there. He came in about, I can't think of the name of the plane right now, about 600 miles an hour. He comes in like into into the airport, and we're all there. There are probably 100,000 people there. This is,
Yeah.
oh, I mean, the entertainment there. They have
But I wonder why he'd come in so fast. Is there a reason or?
yeah, he's going to be entertaining us. He comes in at this high speed and
Oh, Lord.
stops midair over the airport,
Oh,
and
God's name.
and then he goes like this with it. It turns like this, and he turns right at you, and it's in midair. It's not. It's just in midair. The jet.
That could be impossible, right?
No, it's a military airplane that I think they're still using it. And what it does, it has the ability to, take off right from the ground straight up and then shoot away.
Right.
And so he gave us a complete show. It was the most breathtaking thing. I told my wife,
I can't even imagine seeing such a thing. That's crazy.
It's a huge jet. One man,
I don't doubt that.
It's a one-man jet.
Part of the stealth jet family or not?
No, not like that at
like
all.
A stealth jet?
No, it doesn't look stealth at all. It just looks like a
Oh.
huge monster. And the sound is deafening. I mean, it just hurts your ears. And they told us that if you were near that runway with the jet blast going down, the rocks
you're not gonna have any ears left.
It would kill people. They told you
I don't doubt it.
Because they sweep that whole airport clean. So at any rate, and then he takes off again, and he does this whole thing, and he turns the airplane around, but it's sitting like this, and turns it around 2 or 3 times, and right in front of the audience. And then all of a sudden he just takes it like this, and he goes like this, straight out, right out. And I mean, I was video recording it. I got the video.
I believe it. You have the recording.
It's just, it takes your breath away because what you're seeing does not look possible. And
You must have hundreds or thousands of recordings from over the years.
I have done a lot. Yeah, I've
And
done, but
are you cataloging it somewhere or what?
no, they just kind of, I just put them on a SD card, or I put them on tapes. You know what I mean? They just throw them
Have a
on.
whole pile of SD cards around the house with.
Yeah, and on top of that, I got 200 life stories of people.
Yeah.
I
No,
got,
yeah, I get it.
and so I used them.
Wow.
So anyway, and then on top of it, that place, you have a hard time even getting near it, because it's just, yeah, and they have parking, they have camping there. If you ever heard of the EAA, Experimental Aircraft Association, look it up sometime. It's
Okay.
it's the most entertaining place. And then they had I remember one time they had a biplane. Remember the old biplanes for?
Yeah.
And they had a jet engine strapped on that thing on the bottom of it.
Ah,
And he comes in with
my
this thing,
God.
and then he's doing acrobats with it. And then he's got this jet engine, and it also has a prop on it, but he's also got it, and it sits there and it hovers off this engine, just like that jet did. Imagine this old two-wing thing. It was just, and the acrobatics he did with that thing. So they do shows. Then they did a Vietnam show.
Certainly. How many times a year do you think they open the place for any reason?
It's open. That airport is open all year round, but that show is only 3 days long.
Okay.
And it's about $80 to get in. $80 to get in the door.
Well, I easily believe that. Jeez.
It's you have to see it once in a lifetime. That's one of those.
Yeah.
You know how these people say, I want to do one thing in my life. That's a one of a kinder to see that. And
I'm gonna wrap this show.
okay.
It's absolutely fun talking to you every single time. We're doing a show on Wednesday, right? I sent you an email.
Yeah, then I'll tell you about how the movie's going.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a show with Richard Lears, who is going to probably be a famous guy. He's got a movie that's moving along. We're not going to say too much yet, but it's
My Angel in the Crowd. That's as far as I know.
It's getting there. Someday he'll be at the premiere with his new set of teeth and all that. No, I'm kidding.
That's the next thing. That's coming.
Take care, Richard.
Okay,
God
you
bless
too.
you, man. And we'll talk Wednesday, if not before, okay?
Sounds fine.
All right, sir. God bless. Talk to you soon.
Thanks.
All right.